MedTech sales isn't easy. It's a space where long cycles, multiple decision makers, and high regulations make winning strategies essential. And that's why today I'm with Kevin Saem. He is the CEO and founder of Zapyrus. This platform helps MedTech sales teams to focus on the right opportunities through data-driven. Thank you very much, Kevin, for being with us once again.
Pleasure to be here. I'm excited for this session and talk about MedTech sales.
Kevin, let's start with the big picture. From all of what you've seen in the industry so far, what do you think sets top performing MedTech sales teams apart from others?
Yeah, that's a great question, right? Because every business has a sales team. Otherwise, you kind of go out of business pretty quickly, right? Whether it's founder-led sales, the original founder is doing the selling, or you start to hire a sales team, a commercial team, you have executives kind of managing that business unit to try to grow revenue, right? And MedTech is particularly interesting because it's been an industry where it's heavily focused on relationship first, relationship building. Traditionally, right? If you look back, 50 years, 70 years, it's been heavy, relationship focus, which is great because the industry is so small, right? It's big and it's small at the same time. It's not as big as pharma, right? But it's big enough where people need to start to look at modernizing their approaches to business development, right? Where you used to have to go from location to location, taking in-person meetings, and even at conferences, these are all great channels, but you can't just focus on doing that because it doesn't scale in the modern world where people can be connected everywhere, right? And so what I see from top performing MedTech sales team that sets them apart from the rest, they are leaning heavily on a big strategic approach in their commercial growth. So meaning they're looking at different avenues and different channels to grow their business beyond the traditional channels, right? Of relationship focus, shaking hands and kissing babies. It's really how do you strategically get in front of your potential buyer before it's too late? And so timing is critical, right? So these teams start with taking a look at their commercial strategy, go-to-market strategy as it pertains to within current year or 2, 3 years out. And then they ask themselves, where do we invest in at the size of company that we are at, right? If you are a small medtech service provider with, let's say, less than 50 people in the company, you'll have a certain amount of certain amount of investment dollars, to help scale your business. And so you can't spend it everywhere. You have to be pretty strategic in where you choose to spend that dollar amount, right? And so these teams, they first start with looking at conferences like MedTech World, right? Where can we get the most value out of our time? And conferences is a great channel for that because you get the brand visibility, you get to connect with thought leaders in the space. For example, at Malta, one of my most favorite conferences of last year actually was MedTech Malta, not from a lead generation perspective, because most people think I go to conferences, I need leads right away. Good teams look at different conferences for different purposes. MedTech Malta was a great opportunity to get your brand out there in front of decision makers and thought leaders and executives so that your brand name carries through, in the long term. And these teams will look at conferences, have a conference strategy, but then also look at implementing tools that are sustainable, like Zapyrus, like other sales intelligence automation tools as well.
When it comes measuring success, what are those KPIs that a MedTech team need to keep in mind to actually see if they are actually driving success?
Yeah, great question. Different teams look and emphasize different things depending on what their problem is, right? So, for example, if a sales team has a lead generation problem, they're looking to track lead generation KPIs, right? They're looking,
Yeah.
if they're going to a conference, they're looking at how many meetings are being booked, right? That's top of funnel KPI. How many meetings are being conducted post conference or throughout a monthly cycle, right? And so, depending on the deal sizes or the volume needed for your business, that ranges anywhere from, you know, 15 meetings a month per sales rep to anywhere from like 30, 40, 50, depending on the type of service you're offering, right? If you're offering contract manufacturing services, you know, that's a little bit high volume, but if you're offering, let's say, something like an EQMS service or a quality management service where your deal sizes are smaller, to sustain your growth, you're going to need to have even more conversations because your conversion rate wouldn't be as high at those early stage companies, right? The best sales teams, though, always bring it back to productivity and measuring productivity. So there's two main factors that play into sales productivity. There's the sales efficiency and there's sales effectiveness. Efficiency tracks the speed in which you can get to doing the job that you need to do in terms of sales activity, right, in a certain amount of time. So let's say everybody has, you know, 40 hours a week
Mhm.
to sell, right, to grow the business. Efficiency looks at how much you can do and how much sales activity you can produce within the 40 hours. And that's where certain tools come in to make outreach more efficient, to make sales research more efficient, so that you spend less manual time doing that type of stuff, more time selling. So that increases the efficiency, right? The other half of the equation is effectiveness. So is whatever you're doing working to convert
Mhm.
business? You can be as efficient as you want, but if it doesn't convert, it doesn't matter at the end of the
Yeah.
day, right? And so, because medtech is a smaller industry, you can't just focus on efficiency alone and play the high volume game. So you can't just buy a tool, I don't know, like a contacts tool like ZoomInfo or something, and say, here's
Mhm.
10,000 contacts. We're going to email 10,000 contacts and see what we get. It doesn't work like that in medtech because it's so relationship driven and the deal cycle, like you said, is longer term play.
Yeah.
And so the KPIs for effectiveness is, you know, can you get a meeting booked? Off of that meeting, can you get an opportunity generated? How many
Mhm.
of those per month, right? What is the percentage conversion rate on opportunities? Great teams track that religiously and optimize for that using tools, systems, sales methodologies, and different processes.
Yeah, and as you just mentioned, the idea is to actually work smarter rather than harder, right? And
Yeah.
here is when technology comes in. And one of the platforms, indeed, that we want to go through is Zapyrus. How does Zapyrus make these teams more efficient?
Yeah. Thanks for the question. So, Zapyrus at its core is a sales system that optimizes for sales productivity, like I said. Like it optimizes for both sales efficiency and effectiveness, meaning sales teams that are using Zapyrus are spending less time on the busy work, like sales research, like looking up and investigating certain accounts or developing strategy on a certain account. Zapyrus intelligence and capabilities and features help to reduce that time, and it chops it down by like tenfold. So what a sales rep without Zapyrus can do in terms of selling, let's say within an hour, to do it manually, they could maybe do enough research to be able to effectively sell to maybe three customers. With Zapyrus, that goes up to anywhere from like 15 to 20 customers within an hour's time.
Wow.
And so it helps to increase your efficiency. But unlike other tools, it helps to also maximize your effectiveness, right? Most, you know, we're AI driven tool, but we're AI driven towards salespeople. right? And not just AI driven just for the sake of being AI driven. So if you look
Mhm.
at other AI tools, they optimize purely on efficiency. So they say,
Mhm.
how many emails can you send out in a week, in an hour, in a month? How many contacts can you reveal? And so they're playing the volume game, which doesn't really work in medtech. And so you need to factor in for effectiveness. Zapyrus brings in signals and insights to help medtech service providers time their market outreach. And so if you approach a medtech company too late, let's say you're a clinical service provider, you approach a medtech company and they're already looking to commercialize their product.
Mhm.
That's too late. It doesn't matter how good your services are. They're like, we're beyond that stage, right? And
Mhm.
so Zapyrus factors that in to help you get in front of those types of clients before it's too late. And so that optimizes for the effectiveness, meaning the timing.
Yeah.
And so not only you're able to get to more clients, you're able to get to more clients at the right time to convert. And so that's kind of the power of what we do.
Yeah. Even successful meta companies who implement this in their sales processes faces challenges. What are those challenges and how they can actually overcome them?
Yeah, great question. So most people think I'm just going to buy a tool and that's going to solve all of my problems.
That's it.
Or I'm just going to go to a conference and that's going to solve all my problems, right? I think successful teams really invest the time into implementing and tracking religiously what I said in terms of KPIs earlier, productivity, right? And so they're invested from leadership to the sales rep. Everybody's invested in the process, right? And so because they believe that this is going to help them increase their productivity, and we have case studies to prove it over the past 5 years, the teams that are using the tool consistently every day, every week, right? It doesn't have to be long. It could be
Mhm.
5 minutes, 2 minutes, 30 seconds, but they're getting to the habit of using it on a consistently basis. They're then chopping down their lack of efficiency down. And if you scale that down up to a full year, that's
Mhm.
significant. That's hours and hours saved a year
Of course.
for just one
And
person.
money.
Now, and money, right? And so scale that out to, 15 sales reps, it's
Yeah.
exponentially beneficial to be able to do that, right? So, um, yeah, in terms of leveraging not just Zapyrus, but any technology, right? You have to kind of invest the time to kind of learn it up front, and then it's going to pay off in dividends for you later. And
Yeah.
our customer empowerment team really looks at onboarding you every step of the way from start, to finish. So,
Kevin, to wrap up our conversation, one advice that you would give a medtech company who is looking to be the best in class?
mm, that's a great question. It's hard to just keep it at one one advice, right? Um, I would say if we focus on sales team, right? Right? What's one advice that I would give to any sales team or sales professional looking to become the best in class? I would say you need to, in the world of AI and how it's scaling out, right? And how much your potential clients are going to be just bombarded with information constantly from everywhere in in the corners of the internet and their email inbox.
Yeah.
Um, Business professionals need to be more targeted than ever before to basically become more humanized, right? Humans buy from humans. AI buys from AI.
Yeah.
So until your buyers turn on an AI bot, they're still human, right? There's all this artificial intelligence technology that's trying to pretend to be human. Like, hey, draft me an email and pretend you're human, right? So business professionals, one, need to take a hunting approach. Gone are the days of let me sit back, let the marketing team bring people in, and I'm just going to wait here and take
Yeah.
orders. That's going to be gone. That's gone quick, right? Because the companies that are going to survive are the ones that take a hunting approach to growth, right? That's one. Two, it's adopt tools, and I would say adopt them quick and figure out, which tools or which set of tools work best for you and your organization because it's inevitable. Um, we came from a world where we didn't have cell phones, and then we started using cell phones, and then smartphones came online, and now nobody has like a dumb phone, right?
Yeah.
Everybody's got a smartphone. So it's not a matter of if sales teams will need tools and processes and systems. It's a matter of when. And so you want
Yeah.
to be there ahead of the game rather than too late and to find out that, you're behind the ball.
Indeed. Thank you very much, Kevin, for all of your insights. And for those who are interested to know more about Zapyrus, where they can connect with you.
Yeah, they can connect with me, Kevin Saem, on LinkedIn. Visit our website, zapyrus.com. And yeah, follow our LinkedIn page, our newsletter, The Buzz. It's free. It gives you business development best practices, and we try to keep everybody up to date on the market and stuff. And obviously, follow MedTech World and MedTech Malta.
Yeah.
All of their content is awesome, and we're partnering with them to be able to deliver even more MedTech focus content.
Yes.
So.
Yes, for those attending to MedTech Malta, I will have the pleasure to be sharing the room with Kevin. Thank you very much, Kevin. See you in Malta.
Yeah, see ya.